The law of the arena, the sound of drums shook the stone walls, echoing through the great arena. The crowd of thousands shouted as one, their voices rising like a storm. For them this was more than sport, it was law, it was sacred. No crown, no throne, no bloodline could claim the seat of power. Only the victor of the arena could be king. Marcus stood at the center, his feet on the hot sand. He was a stranger here, a human pulled from a distant world. His clothes were torn, his body covered in dust, and in his hand was nothing more than a wooden spear. It was not sharpened with metal. It carried no glow of energy like the weapons of the alien warriors. To the people in the stands, it looked like a tool of mockery. They laughed, they jeered, they threw stones at him. Above the arena, in the high seat, sat the alien priests, their faces hidden behind golden masks. They were the keepers of the sacred law. Their voices had declared the trial, and their voices would declare the victor. But even they whispered to one another, why was a human here, and why was he given only wood when others fought with blades of steel? The first gate opened. A warrior stepped out, tall, his armor black and shining. In his hand was a curved sword. His face bore scars of many victories. The crowd screamed his name. He was expected to win, to crush the weak outsider in seconds. Marcus looked at him. His chest rose and fell. His heart pounded. He was no king, no chosen hero. He was a soldier once, a survivor of battles on Earth. But here, on this alien world, none of that mattered. What mattered was the spear in his hand and the law of the arena. Win or die, become king or be forgotten. The warrior charged. The ground shook under his heavy steps. His sword rose high. Sparks of blue energy crackled along the blade. The crowd roared, already seeing Marcus dead. But Marcus did not move. He waited, his eyes fixed, his grip tight. At the last second, he sidestepped. His body moved faster than the armored giant expected. The wooden spear shot forward. It struck the warrior's side where the plates of armor met. A sound echoed, not of wood breaking, but of armor cracking. The warrior stumbled. Shock spread across the arena. The crowd went silent for a breath. How could a wooden stick pierce the armor of steel? The warrior turned, his face twisted with rage. He swung again. His blade cut the air. Marcus ducked. The spear struck again. This time at the warrior's chest. The black armor shattered. A crack of light spilled from the wound. The giant fell to his knees. The crowd screamed in disbelief. The wooden spear had done what no sword could do. Marcus stood over the fallen warrior, his breath heavy. Sweat rolled down his face. The spear in his hand glowed faintly, as if alive. He looked at it, confused. The crowd looked at him with new eyes, no longer laughing, no longer mocking. Some even began to chant not his name, for they did not know it, but the word victor. The priests whispered among themselves, their golden masks glinting in the sun. They had not expected this. The spear, the law, the outsider, it was not chance. Something was moving behind the veil of tradition. Something old and dangerous. The gates closed again. The body of the defeated warrior dragged away. The drums began to beat once more, louder this time. Marcus raised the spear, his hands trembling. He knew this was only the beginning. The law of the arena had accepted him, and now the throne of a kingdom rested on his survival. In the silence between the drum beats, Marcus thought of Earth, of home, of the life stolen from him. He clenched his jaw. If victory alone could make him king, then victory he would claim. But somewhere deep inside, he felt a whisper from the spear, a voice too faint to understand. A promise, or perhaps a warning. The crowd cheered again. The priests raised their hands. More gates would open. More battles would come. Marcus tightened his grip on the wooden spear. The law of the arena had spoken, and now his fate was sealed. Asterisk. The first battle, the arena did not rest. The crowd had tasted shock, and now they demanded blood again. Drums thundered, horns blasted, and the second gate creaked open from the darkness inside. Two warriors stepped out together, their bodies wrapped in silver armor. each holding a long curved blade that shimmered like fire. The people roared louder than before. They wanted Marcus dead. They wanted the sacred law to prove itself right, that only the strong deserved the throne. They believed the first victory had been a trick of chance. Now, with two champions at once, the outsider would fall. Marcus gripped his spear. His arms ached from the first fight. His breathing was heavy, yet his mind sharpened. He had been a soldier once. He had fought in deserts and jungles, not with glowing blades but with strategy. And strategy was the one thing still his, the first. Silver Warrior charged straight. The second circled wide. They moved with speed that seemed impossible in heavy armor. The sand rose under their boots as they closed in. Marcus did not wait. He knew that standing still meant death. He rushed forward, suddenly surprising the crowd. The wooden spear spun in his hand like an extension of his body. He struck low at the first warrior's knee. The armor bent but did not break. The alien stumbled but stayed standing. The second warrior's blade cut across the air. Marcus twisted. His body, the blade missed his chest by an inch. He rolled in the sand. Rising with speed, the crowd gasped. Some began to shout with anger, others with excitement. The fight turned into a dance of death. Blades swung, sparks flew. Marcus dodged again and again. His legs burned, his arms trembled. He could not fight forever. He needed more than survival. He needed victory. The first warrior lifted his sword high, aiming to split Marcus in half. Marcus stepped inside the swing, too close for the sword to strike. The wooden spear shot upward, stabbing under the warrior's chin. A sound of cracking bone echoed. The silver warrior collapsed. The crowd fell into silence again. One dead, one still alive, and Marcus, the human, was still standing. The second warrior roared. His voice carried rage and disbelief. He attacked with fury. His blade moved faster than lightning. Marcus blocked. With the spear, wood against metal, sparks flew, yet the spear did not break. It glowed faintly again. As though drinking the power of the blows, the warrior swung again and again, forcing Marcus back toward the wall of the arena. The sand shifted under his feet. He could not retreat further. The warrior raised his blade for the final strike. The crowd leaned forward, ready to see death. But Marcus did not step back. He stepped forward. His spear struck at the warrior's wrist. The glowing blade flew from the alien's hand, spinning through the air and landing in the sand. The crowd screamed, some with shock, some with cheers. The warrior froze, unarmed, his eyes wide with rage and fear. Marcus did not hesitate. He spun the spear once and drove it into the alien's chest. The silver armor shattered like glass. The warrior fell on the sand, his lifeless body still. Silence covered the arena for a long breath. Then, slowly, the sound of voices rose. Not mocking, not laughing, but chanting. They did not chant his name, for they did not know it. They chanted only one word, over and over: Victor, Victor, Victor. Marcus stood there, chest heaving, sweat pouring down his face. The spear in his hand glowed more brightly now, the carvings along its shaft alive with light. He stared at it, wondering what it truly was. Was it a weapon, a key, or something far older than both? Above him, the priests shifted uneasily. Their golden masks turned toward one another, their whispers lost in the roar of the crowd. This was not what they expected. This was not what the sacred law had predicted. The drums fell silent. The bodies were dragged away. The gates closed. Marcus remained standing in the middle of the arena, his grip tight on the wooden spear, his heart heavy with fear but burning with fire. For the first time since he arrived, Marcus felt the truth. This was not only a fight for survival. This was a path to something greater, something written in the law of this world, a law that even the priests could not control. The arena was not done with him yet. The next gates would open soon. Stronger enemies would come, and the throne of the kingdom still stood far beyond his reach. But for now, Marcus had done the impossible again, and the people who once mocked him now shouted for him. The sacred law had begun to change before their eyes. Secrets of the wooden spear. The arena was silent now. The blood of 2 fallen warriors stained the sand, and Marcus stood alone with his strange weapon glowing faintly in his hand. The crowd had shouted his victory, but their cheers soon faded into whispers. Fear and wonder mixed in their voices. How could a wooden spear break steel? How could an outsider survive against champions? Above, in the high throne of stone, the priests in golden masks leaned closer to each other. Their whispers grew sharper. The arena had seen many battles, but never this. Never a human wielding a weapon that seemed alive. Marcus lowered his spear and looked at the carved lines along the shaft. They pulsed with a soft light, like veins under skin. He had no memory of the weapon before the fight. He remembered only waking in this alien world, being dragged into the arena, and the spear being thrust into his hand. It was light as wood, yet heavy with power. The gate behind him opened, not for warriors, but for attendants of the arena. They carried water and a small torch. They guided Marcus back into the shadowed corridors beneath the arena. The roar of the crowd faded behind stone walls. Inside the chambers, he was left alone. His chest rose and fell with exhaustion. He stared at the spear. His fingers traced the glowing lines. They were not random carvings. They were symbols, old and sharp. He had seen nothing like them before. Yet as his skin touched them, a whisper rose in his mind. Not words, not fully, but a sense. A voice that was not his own. It carried weight. It carried warning. "You are chosen," the whisper said. "But choice is not yours." Marcus dropped the spear in shock. The glow dimmed, but did not vanish. His breath quickened. He pressed his hands to his head. Was he going mad? Or was the spear truly speaking? The chamber door creaked. A figure slipped inside. A young alien girl, her eyes bright with fear. She moved quickly, looking over her shoulder as if someone might follow. In her hands she carried a cloth and food. She placed them on the stone bench and whispered, "You should not be alive," she said. "And yet you are." Marcus stared at her, his grip tight on the spear. "Who are you?" he asked, his voice low. She bowed her head. "My name does not matter," she said. "I am a servant, but I have seen enough battles to know when the law changes." She pointed at the spear, her eyes wide. "That weapon. It is not wood. It is older than the arena, older than the priests." Marcus frowned. He lifted the spear slightly. "What is it then?" The girl stepped back, her voice trembling. "It is the spear of kings," she whispered. "A weapon of the first war, a relic of the ones who built this world. No one has touched it for centuries, for it chooses its bearer. It rejects all others. That is why you live. That is why the priests fear you." The words sank deep into Marcus's mind. He thought of the glowing light, the whispers in his head, the way the spear shattered armor like glass. He tightened his grip. His fate was not chance. He had been chosen by something older than law, older than throne. But the girl's eyes darkened. "Be careful," she said. "The priests will not allow an outsider to take the throne. They will send more warriors. They will send beasts from the pits. And if you survive them, they will break the law itself before letting you rule." Marcus leaned forward. "Then why help me?" The girl's lips trembled for a moment. Silence. Then she whispered, "Because my brother died in the arena. He fought for the law, and the law betrayed him. I will not see another innocent crushed, even if you are human." Her voice cracked. She pulled her hood low and hurried toward the door. Before leaving, she turned once more. Her eyes met his. "If you survive, remember this. The spear does not only kill, it remembers. It carries memory. Listen to it, or it will destroy you as well." The door closed. Marcus was alone again. The spear rested across his knees, glowing faintly like a living heart. He closed his eyes. The whisper returned, stronger now, clearer. "Victory makes kings," it said. "But kings are made for war." Marcus's breath slowed. He understood. This battle was not about survival anymore. It was not even about the throne. It was about something greater, something the priests did not want him to know. the drums outside began again. The crowd roared. Another trial awaited. Marcus rose, spear in hand, his mind heavy with fear but burning with resolve. For in the arena, he was no longer only a man. He was the bearer of the spear of kings, and with it came a destiny older than he could imagine. Allies and betrayal. The arena thundered once more. But Marcus no longer heard the crowd as before. His mind kept circling back to the girl's words. The spear does not only kill, it remembers. The whisper of the weapon still hummed at the edge of his thoughts, as if waiting for him to listen. When the next gate opened, Marcus expected another armored champion, or perhaps a beast from the pits, but instead, the priests raised their hands and called for silence. Their golden masks gleamed in the sun. One of them spoke in a deep voice that rolled through the arena. "Outsider," the priest said, "by victory you remain, by victory you are bound. But your next trial is not of strength alone, it is of loyalty." From the shadows of the gate stepped 3 warriors, their armor dark red, their eyes cold. They did not rush him. They stood in a circle, surrounding him. Behind them came a tall figure in silver robes, his face hidden, his voice sharp as a blade. "You will not win the throne, human," the robed figure said. "The law bends only so far, and we bend it now." The crowd gasped. Some shouted in anger, others cheered for blood. Marcus gripped the spear. He could feel its warmth in his hands. "If the law is sacred," he shouted, "why change it now?" His voice carried through the arena. The robed figure laughed. "Because we are the law," he said, "and the law serves the throne." The red warriors moved at once, fast and silent. Their blades gleamed in the sunlight. Marcus spun the spear, blocking one strike, dodging another. The third cut across his arm. Pain seared his flesh. He staggered back. The crowd roared, divided now, some chanting victor, others calling for his death. But before Marcus could strike again, another gate opened. A figure dashed out, throwing herself between him and the red warriors. It was the girl, the servant. Her hood had fallen back, her face pale but her eyes fierce. In her hands she held a broken chain, as if she had escaped from prison. The crowd gasped again. Priests rose to their feet, shouting. The girl stood beside Marcus. "You cannot fight them all," she whispered. "They will not stop until you fall." Marcus's chest burned with rage. "Then why stand with me?" he asked. "Because betrayal already surrounds you," she said, "and I will not let it claim you without warning." The red warriors struck again. Marcus and the girl moved together. She knew their style, their steps, their weaknesses, with her voice guiding him. Marcus's spear found its mark, armor shattered. One warrior fell, another tried to cut her down, but Marcus blocked the blade. The spear glowed brighter, humming with power. The last warrior hesitated. Fear touched his eyes. Marcus drove the spear forward, and the man collapsed. The arena shook with noise. Some of the crowd rose to their feet, shouting Marcus's name now. No longer just victor, but king. Others cursed him, spitting and throwing stones. The priests above the arena spoke in fury. Their deep voices carried through the chaos. "This is treason," they roared. "The girl will die, and the human will be broken." Guards rushed from the gates, dozens of them, spears raised. The girl grabbed Marcus's arm. "We must leave now," she said. She pulled him toward a hidden passage at the edge of the arena wall. A narrow tunnel masked by shadow. Marcus followed, blood dripping from his arm, his legs heavy, his heart pounding. As they slipped into the darkness, the roar of the crowd faded behind them. The tunnel stretched long beneath the arena. The sound of water dripped from above. The girl moved quickly, leading the way, her voice low. "You must understand," she said. "The priests never intended to let you win. They wanted you to fight, to entertain, to bleed, but never to rule." Marcus clenched his jaw. His grip tightened on the glowing spear. "Then I will make them see," he said, his voice rough but steady. The girl stopped, turning to him, her eyes sharp in the dim light. You do not understand. If you win the throne, you will not only face warriors, you will face betrayal from every side. Even those who cheer for you now will turn against you. They fear a king who is not of their blood. Her words cut deep. Marcus knew she spoke truth. Yet he also knew there was no turning back. The law had bound him. Victory had already carried him too far. The whisper of the spear echoed again in his mind, stronger this time. Trust no crown, trust no mask. The throne is fire, and fire burns all. Marcus raised the weapon. Its glow lit the tunnel walls. His eyes burned with determination. Then let it burn, he said. The girl's lips trembled. A shadow of fear crossed her face. Be careful, she whispered, for fire consumes even those who wield it. They moved deeper into the tunnels, away from the priests, away from the arena. But Marcus knew the battle was not left behind. It had only begun. Above them, the golden-masked priests raged in fury, their voices echoing through the chambers, their power shaken, their throne threatened. The law was no longer theirs alone, and in the silence of the dark, the spear pulsed like a beating heart, whispering of war yet to come. The trial of kings. The tunnels carried Marcus and the girl into the underbelly of the arena. Darkness pressed against the stone walls, and the air smelled of damp earth and blood. At last they reached a chamber lit by torches. The girl stopped, her chest rising fast. This is the path to the next trial, she whispered. They call it the trial of kings. No man has passed it in generations. Marcus tightened his grip on the glowing spear. His arm still ached from his wounds, but his eyes burned with determination. What is it? He asked. The girl lowered her gaze. Not one enemy, she said, but many. Beasts, warriors, and worse. They will send everything they have. If you live, you will stand one step from the throne. If you fall, your name will be lost forever. Before Marcus could answer, iron gates ahead of them opened with a grinding sound. Bright sunlight poured in. The drums pounded once more. The roar of the crowd filled his ears. The arena awaited him again. Marcus stepped forward. The girl stayed behind in the shadows, her eyes heavy with fear. Remember, she whispered, the spear gives power, but it demands something in return. Then the gates slammed shut behind him, and he was alone in the blazing light of the arena. The crowd screamed louder than ever. Priests in golden masks stood tall, raising their hands to call for silence. One priest's voice rolled like thunder. By sacred law, the trial of kings begins. Only the true victor may claim the throne, and only the throne may decide the true victor. The ground shook, the sand cracked. From beneath the arena floor, iron doors burst open. 3 beasts charged out, their bodies twisted with scales and fur, their eyes glowing red, their mouths filled with teeth longer than daggers. The crowd went wild, chanting for blood. Marcus lifted the spear. The beasts roared and sprinted across the sand. Faster than any human eye could follow, the first leapt, jaws wide. Marcus spun, driving the spear upward. The wooden tip met flesh. Armor-hard scales shattered. The beast crashed to the ground in a pool of blood. The crowd gasped. The second beast circled, moving low. Its tail whipped across the sand. Marcus stepped back, but the tail caught his leg. Pain exploded through him. He stumbled. The beast lunged, claws ready. At the last second, Marcus rolled. His spear flashed, cutting across the beast's throat. Blood sprayed across the arena. The monster staggered and fell. The third beast, larger than the others, hesitated. It watched Marcus with cruel intelligence. Its eyes locked on the glowing spear. It let out a low growl, and instead of charging, it began circling him, step by step. Waiting for weakness, Marcus breathed hard. His body screamed in pain. Sweat poured down his face. His grip trembled. But the spear pulsed in his hand, light, burning brighter. The beast struck suddenly, faster than lightning. Marcus barely lifted the spear in time. The two clashed in the middle of the arena. Man and monster locked together. The crowd rose to its feet, screaming. The beast roared, pushing him back. Marcus's feet slid through the sand. His arms shook under the weight. Then the whisper came again, sharp and cold. "Strike not the body, strike the heart." Marcus shifted. His body twisted. The spear slid under the beast's chest and drove deep. The creature screamed. Its body convulsed. Then it collapsed into silence. The arena shook with shock. The crowd screamed. Some cheered, some cursed. But none could deny the truth. Marcus had slain the beasts of the trial, but it was not over. The priests raised their hands once more. Another gate opened. This time warriors marched out, 6 of them, each bearing weapons of fire and steel. Their armor glowed red as if forged in flame. Marcus staggered, his body near breaking, but he raised the spear again. The crowd held its breath. The warriors attacked together, blades flashing. Marcus dodged, blocked, and struck. The spear cut through armor as if it were cloth. Sparks of power burst with each strike. His body moved faster, as if guided by something greater than himself. One by one, the warriors fell. Some with shattered helmets, some pierced through the chest. The sand turned red with blood. The crowd screamed in disbelief. When the last warrior collapsed, Marcus stood alone again, his chest rising and falling like a storm. The spear burned with light so bright it cast shadows across the arena walls. The priests stared in silence, their golden masks unmoving. For the first time, fear was clear, even in their stillness. The crowd rose to its feet. Thousands of voices joined as one, not chanting for blood, not chanting for death. They shouted one word, "King, King." Marcus lifted the spear high. His eyes burned with fire. His voice echoed through the arena. "If victory makes kings, then know this: I will not stop until the throne is mine." The roar shook the sky. But in the shadows of the high throne, the priests whispered among themselves, plotting darker things, for they knew the trial of kings was only the beginning. And Marcus, though victorious, had yet to face the greatest enemy of all. The final duel. The arena stood in silence. The beasts had fallen. The warriors lay broken. And Marcus stood drenched in sweat and blood. His chest rose and fell like a storm. The glowing spear in his hand pulsed with light, brighter than ever before. The people shouted, "King," their voices shaking the sky, but the priests did not cheer. From their high seat, they raised their golden masks and spoke in a single thunderous voice. The throne cannot be claimed until the final duel is won. The reigning warlord must face the challenger, and only one may stand as king. The crowd erupted. Their voices clashed like fire. Some roared for Marcus, others for their warlord. Then the great gate at the far end of the arena opened. Heavy chains rattled. Dust filled the air. From the shadows stepped a giant figure clad in black armor that burned with red light. His presence crushed the air. His steps shook the sand. The warlord, ruler of the kingdom, destroyer of countless enemies, stood before Marcus. In his hands, he carried a massive blade, not steel, not iron, but a weapon of pure energy. The blade hummed like thunder. Its glow could cut stone in half. The crowd screamed his name, "Warlord, warlord." Their voices mixed with fear and loyalty, for many had never known a ruler but him. Marcus gripped the spear tighter. His arms ached, his wounds burned. Yet his eyes did not waver. He stood ready. The warlord lifted the energy blade high. His voice echoed across the arena. "You are no king, outsider. You are nothing today. The law will be broken. Today the throne will be cleansed of your shame." Marcus raised the spear, his voice steady. "If victory makes a king, then you must kill me to keep your crown." The warlord roared and charged. The sand exploded under his feet. The energy blade swung down with the force of a mountain. Marcus leapt aside. The blade struck the ground, splitting the stone like water. The crowd screamed. Marcus thrust the spear, but the warlord blocked. Sparks burst across the arena. Wood clashed with energy. And yet the spear did not break. Instead, it glowed brighter, resisting the impossible force. Blow after blow shook Marcus. The warlord struck with strength beyond human. Each swing of his blade was death itself. Marcus dodged, rolled, struck back. His body screamed with pain, his legs barely held. But the spear moved with him, guiding his strikes, whispering in his mind, "Do not fight his blade, fight his weakness." The warlord roared again. He swung wide. Marcus ducked low and stabbed at his side. The spear pierced the black armor. Cracks of red light spread. The warlord staggered, but did not fall. His eyes burned with fury. He struck again, faster now. His blade cut across Marcus's shoulder. Flesh burned. Blood sprayed. Pain shot through his body. Marcus cried out but did not fall. He gritted his teeth. His vision blurred. The crowd gasped. The warlord raised his blade for the final strike. His shadow towered over Marcus. The end seemed certain. Then the whisper of the spear thundered in Marcus's mind, louder than ever before. "Now strike the heart, or all is lost." Marcus's eyes cleared. His body moved with sudden fire. He stepped forward into the warlord's swing. The blade grazed past him, burning his side. But he drove the spear upward with all his strength. The wooden tip pierced the warlord's chest. Armor shattered like glass. A burst of light exploded across the arena. The warlord roared in rage, his body convulsing. His energy blade flickered and fell from his hand. The giant staggered, eyes wide with disbelief. Blood and light poured from the wound. He fell to his knees. Then with a final cry, he collapsed on the sand. His massive frame silent forever. The arena froze in silence. Thousands of eyes stared. The priest stood motionless. The people held their breath. Then the roar began. It rose like a storm, louder than thunder, shaking the stone walls. "King, king, king," they shouted. Their voices joined as one. Marcus stood trembling, his chest heaving, his body torn and broken. But the spear glowed in his hand, burning. Like a star, he raised it high, his voice cracked but strong. "By victory alone, I claim the throne." The crowd roared again. The priests looked at one another in silence. Their golden masks could not hide their fear, for the sacred law had spoken. The outsider had won. The warlord was dead, and by the law, Marcus was king. Yet even as the arena shook with cheers, the whisper of the spear filled his mind once more, colder than ever. The throne is not the end. Human, it is the beginning. The war beyond the stars awaits. Marcus lowered the spear. His eyes hard, he understood now. His victory had not saved him. It had chained him to something far greater. The final duel was over, but the true war had only just begun. King by victory, the arena still shook with the chants of thousands. "King, king, king." The sound rolled like thunder over the blood-stained sand. Marcus stood in the center, his chest heaving, his wounds raw. His wooden spear glowed like fire in his hands. The warlord's body lay still, black armor shattered. The mighty energy blade silent forever. The sacred law had been fulfilled. Victory had been won. And by that victory, Marcus was king. The priests in golden masks did not move at first. They stood frozen, their voices caught in silence. For centuries they had bent the law, shaped it to their will. But the law was older than them, and the arena had spoken. At last, one priest raised his staff. His voice rang out, trembling though. He tried to hide it. "By sacred law, the throne is claimed. The outsider is king." The crowd erupted. Their voices shook the very sky. Some cheered with joy, others with fury, for some could not accept a human ruler. Yet none could deny the truth. The law had crowned him. Marcus raised the spear high. His voice rang clear. "I did not seek your throne. I did not seek your crown. But your law brought me here, and by your law I have won. Now I will rule." The people roared again. Some knelt, some spat in anger, but all bowed to the truth. The gates opened. Guards in armor stepped forward, not with blades drawn, but kneeling. At his feet, the spear's light washed over them. Their voices joined the chant. "King." Marcus walked across the arena. His legs weak, his body broken, but his step steady. The gates led him into the throne chamber, a hall of stone and gold. that had seen rulers rise and fall for centuries. At the end of the hall stood the throne of spears, carved from the weapons of kings long dead. It gleamed with ancient power. The priests followed in silence, their golden masks lowered, their voices heavy with defeat. Marcus climbed the steps. The spear in his hand glowed brighter with each step. He sat upon the throne. His blood stained the seat, his breath ragged, yet in that moment, the law was unbroken. He was king. The priests knelt, their voices low. "Hail, King Marcus," they said, but inside, their hearts burned with hatred and fear, for they knew their power was broken. They would plot again. They would wait for weakness. And Marcus knew it too. The girl appeared at the edge of the hall. Slipping past the guards, her eyes met his. She bowed. "You have done what no one thought possible," she said softly. "But your battles are not over." Marcus tightened his grip on the glowing spear. "I know," he whispered. The voice of the weapon rose again in his mind, stronger than ever. "The arena is one world, but war spreads beyond. Kings are not crowned to rule in peace. They are crowned to fight, to bleed, to burn." Marcus's gaze hardened. He looked at the priests, at the guards, at the people who now called him king. He saw both loyalty and betrayal in their eyes, both fear and hope. The throne was his, but it was not freedom. It was a chain, binding him to a war greater than this world. He raised the spear high once more. His voice shook the hall. "I am king by victory, but I will not be the last. This throne is built on battle, and the battle has only begun." The crowd outside screamed again. Their voices carried through the stone walls. The priests bowed but whispered in secret, plotting his fall. The girl stood silent, her eyes filled with both fear and faith. And the spear whispered one final time, colder than before, "The true enemy waits beyond the stars." Marcus sat upon the throne, his body broken, his crown unseen. But the people knew, the priests knew, the girl knew, and he himself knew. The arena had given him the kingdom, but the kingdom was only the beginning.